Good morning. It's Thursday. Today we talk about upcoming Chevrolet Corvette SUV and debuting Fiat Fastback. Let's start. Informations about the new upcoming Fast Family station wagon appeared on the web. First of all, despite all the electrification trend in the VAG concern, the next iteration RS6 Avant will be created and won't be such a sad revolution. The life cycle of the current RS6 ends in the middle of the decade, and its successor should arrive in late 2025 or 2026. In an interview, the head of Audi Sport confirmed that the new station wagon will be powered by a plug-in hybrid powertrain. It's to be a perfect bridge between internal combustion engines and electric automotive. It's interesting that the current generation is slightly hybrid because the 4-liter V8 engine twin-turbo is supported by a mild hybrid system. When the Audi RS6 Avant makes its debut in 2025 or 2026, the C9 generation will be the last high-speed station wagon from the Ingolstadt-based manufacturer. The history of the modernization of the engines of this model, especially for the changing regulations, actually began after the C6 generation. Then CO2 emissions became more and more important. The C7 then reduced the engine size from V10 to V8 and introduced cylinder deactivation. There's a 48-volt mild hybrid system in the C8. In turn, the C10 generation will already feature an electrical system. The same will also happen with the next generation of the BMW 3 Series, which will happily be sold in 2 more variants. A new model will be based on the completely new BMW Neue Class floor platform, and it will debut in 2025. It will definitely get the name with the prefix I, so it will probably be the next i3. At the same time, a combustion engine model based on the BMW Clar floor platform will be introduced, also intended for the installation of hybrid systems. The electrician's internal code designation is NA0. The current Generation 3 made its debut at the 2018 Paris Motor Show and has recently undergone a mid-life refresh. So there are still 2 to 3 years left to replace the generation. There is also the possibility that the Bavarian manufacturer will simply extend the existence of the current generation of the G23 by introducing the electric i3 in parallel. This would give buyers a few more years to comfortably switch to electricity. The new floor platform is also intended to represent a completely new approach and reorganization in terms of batteries, design, production and resource utilization. There is talk of an 800-volt installation that will be able to handle charging with a power of up to 350 kilowatts. Thanks to innovative solutions in the field of cooling and heating, energy losses associated with these processes will be history, and the new models will not lose their range in winter. There is something to do. Certainly, such words were spoken by Carlos Tavares in the first months after the merger of FCA and PSA in Stellantis. The condition of Italians was not the best then, and the brand's offer left much to be desired. In times of developing electrification, considerable funds had to be invested in a short time to make the portfolio of other brands include mainly electric cars. There are already quite a few of them at the moment, and the situation will continue to develop in the coming years. The new trend in the concern is also visible when looking at the sales bars in Europe. In the first half of 2022, the newly created concern overtook Tesla and inevitably approaches the Volkswagen Group. So far, more than 105,000 electric cars have been sold in Europe compared to the current leader Tesla, which has received orders for 78,000 units. The Volkswagen Group sold almost 117,000 copies during these 6 months. The best-selling electric car of the Stellantis concern is the Fiat 500e. The model is also the best-selling electric car in Italy and Germany. Another key electrician is the Peugeot E208. Sales of Tesla Motors cars in Europe slowed due to the closure of the Shanghai plant that produces Model 3 sedans and Model Y crossovers for export to Europe, and problems with the plant outside Berlin. The best-selling electrician of the VAG concern is the Skoda Enyaq i. Speaking of Fiat, the Brazilian branch of this Italian manufacturer has its answer to the Volkswagen Taygo. It is about the Fiat Fastback, which debuted after the concept model was presented in 2018. It is a small crossover technically related to the Fiat Pulse due to the MLA platform. Basically, it is an evolution of the MP1 design used in Fiat Argo and Kronos. The technical specifications of this car have not been disclosed yet, but it should be of a similar size to its prototype. So in length it would be about 4 meters with the wheelbase slightly over 2.5 meters. However, the new Fiat Fastback seems to have slightly longer body overhangs. Certainly in terms of practicality, this is the slightly less ambitious but more handsome brother. The sloping roofline just behind the B-pillar takes away the headroom for the rear seat passengers and of course reduces luggage capacity. There is nothing to expect that Fiat will decide to introduce Fastback to Europe. Unless in the electric version. Of course, the combustion model would be the strongest competitor for the Volkswagen Taigo, but the current policy of the Stellantis concern is rather to popularize electric models as soon as possible and abandon combustion gases. Unfortunately, it turns out that such an approach is more and more often adopted by producers that we would never suspect of it. Another revolutionist will be Chevrolet, which intends not only to introduce an electric version of the Corvette, but also to add a sporty SUV to its model portfolio. It would be a volumetric model alongside the next-generation Corvette, which may receive a sedan body. Such a car would certainly be an American competitor to the Porsche Taycan and the more powerful versions of the Tesla Model S. The new model could be based on the Cadillac Celestiq floor platform. The SUV, on the other hand, will probably be based on the design of the recently presented Chevrolet Blazer, which boasts a 573 horsepower drive and 878 Nm of torque. Interestingly, although the idea of building an SUV seems as controversial as the launch of the Mustang Mach-E, General Motors shares rose 2.4% right after the leak of this information to the public. The market reaction was therefore positive. According to preliminary information, the Corvette SUV could debut in 2025. That's all for today. Leave a comment, subscribe and see you on Saturday.